I'm Natalie, and my life used to feel like a perfect escape. Wilderness trails, starlit nights, and the warm grip of Ryan's hand in mine as we conquered the untamed together. But lately, a creeping emptiness has settled between us. A silent fracture I can't mend, no matter how many sunsets we chase. This last trip to Willow Lake was supposed to fix everything. A chance to reclaim what we've lost, even with Ryan's friends tagging along for the first time. Yet, under the flickering glow of a campfire, something ignited. A forbidden spark that could burn everything I've ever known to ashes. What did I do in the shadows of those pines that changed my world forever? Picture this. A single, flickering candle on a chipped wooden table, casting long shadows across a cramped apartment kitchen in the heart of Chicago. That's where I'm sitting right now, at 40 years old, tracing the worn edges of a map with my fingertip, lost in thought. My name's Natalie, and this map, creased and faded from years of use, holds more than just trails and rivers. It holds pieces of me, of us, of a life I've built with Ryan, the man who's been by my side through every storm and sunrise. We've always been drawn to the wild, the untamed places where the city's noise can't reach. Back in the early days, we'd pack up our beat-up truck and flee the concrete jungle for the wilderness, craving the kind of quiet that sinks into your bones. I can still hear the crunch of leaves beneath our boots, the sharp, clean scent of pine filling my lungs as we hiked through endless forests. We'd pitch our tent by some forgotten river, the water whispering secrets as it slipped over smooth stones. At night, under a sky so vast it felt like we were drowning in stars, Ryan's hand would find mine, warm and steady, as we watched the sun bleed into the horizon. Those moments, they were everything. His touch, the heat of him beside me, would spark something primal, a hunger we'd sate in the privacy of our tent, lost in each other with nothing but the rustle of nylon and the distant call of an owl to witness us. But time has a way of shifting things, doesn't it? Over the past few years, those escapes have changed. The trails are the same, the rivers still murmur, but the air between us feels heavier. Our conversations, once endless, have dwindled to small talk or silence. Even when we're side by side staring at the same sunset, there's a hollow ache inside me, a void I can't name. It's not just the quiet, it's the unspoken, the way our hands don't reach for each other as often, the way I catch myself wondering if he feels it too. I don't know what's missing. Not yet. But it's there, lingering like a shadow at the edge of every memory. I keep hoping one of these trips will bring us back, will stitch up whatever's fraying at the seams of us. But each time, I come home feeling emptier than before. Ryan's got these two friends, Mark and Ethan, who've been part of our orbit for years. They're good guys, the kind you can count on, though they've never tagged along on our wilderness getaways. Mark's the rugged type, all broad shoulders and calloused hands, with a laugh that cuts through any tension like a knife. He's at home in the outdoors, probably more than in any city apartment, always ready with a story about some backwoods adventure. Ethan, on the other hand, is quieter, more reserved, but his sharp wit can catch you off guard. So here I am, climbing into Ryan's old pickup truck, the familiar creak of the door greeting me like an old friend as I settle into the worn leather seat. The cab smells of damp canvas from the tent rolled up in the back, a scent that tugs at memories of countless escapes into the wild. The radio hums low, some classic rock tune weaving through the air, its scratchy melody barely audible over the rumble of the engine as we pull out onto the highway, heading toward Willow Lake. Behind us, Mark and Ethan trail in their own car, their headlights a steady glow in the rearview mirror. I glance at Ryan, his hands steady on the wheel, and I'm struck by how animated he seems today. He's talking more than usual, his voice carrying a rare excitement as he rambles on about the best fishing spots at the lake and some campfire recipe he's been itching to try involving foil packets and wild herbs. I nod along, letting his words wash over me. But there's a nagging unease too. A quiet whisper in the back of my mind reminding me that things might not go as planned. Our trips have always been sacred, a private retreat where we could shed everything and just be. Having Mark and Ethan along feels like an intrusion, like someone stepped into a space that's always been ours alone. I push the thought aside, focusing on the road ahead, the way the asphalt blurs beneath us as the city fades into rolling hills and dense forest. Hours later, we pull into the clearing by Willow Lake, the tires crunching over gravel as Ryan cuts the engine. I step out, breathing in the crisp, earthy air, the kind that feels like it could cleanse every worry from your soul. The lake stretches out before us, its surface shimmering like liquid gold under the late afternoon sun, framed by towering pines that seem to guard its secrets. Somewhere in the distance, an owl lets out a low, haunting hoot, a sound that sends a shiver down my spine despite the warmth of the day. We get to work setting up camp, pitching our tent on a grassy patch just steps from the water's edge. I hammer in the stakes, the rhythmic thud grounding me while Ryan kneels nearby, double-checking the guy lines with a focus I haven't seen in him for a while. Mark's over by the tree line, hauling an armful of firewood, letting out a playful grunt as he drops the load with a dramatic flair, dusting off his hands with a grin. Ethan's already claimed a spot on a nearby log, his guitar resting on his knee as he strums a few lazy chords, the notes drifting over the clearing like a soft breeze. I catch Ryan unpacking the cooler, pulling out cans of soda and packs of food with a rare smile tugging at his lips. And for a moment, I let myself believe everything might finally fall back into place. As the sun dips below the horizon at Willow Lake, the world around us transforms into a canvas of deep indigo and flickering gold. I'm sitting on a weathered log by the campfire, the heat of the flames washing over my face, a comforting contrast to the cool night air creeping in from the lake. The smoky scent of burning wood fills my senses, sharp and nostalgic, grounding me in this moment. Ethan's fingers dance over the strings of his guitar, coaxing out a soft, melancholic tune that seems to weave itself into the crackling of the fire. Mark, ever the restless one, tosses a handful of dry branches into the blaze, sending a burst of sparks spiraling up into the endless night sky like tiny, fleeting stars. We all let out a collective laugh, the sound mingling with the clink of cheap beer cans pulled from the cooler, as we swap stories of past adventures and simpler times. I'm wedged between Mark and Ethan on this log, acutely aware of their closeness, the warmth of their presence almost as tangible as the fire itself. Across from me, through the haze of smoke, Ryan sits on a folding chair, his eyes catching mine now and then, unreadable in the dim light. There's a shift in the air, subtle at first, like a whisper of something forbidden. Mark reaches past me for another beer, his hand brushing against my knee, lingering just a moment longer than necessary. My breath catches in my throat, a jolt of electricity running through me, and though every instinct screams to pull away, I don't. I can't. My body freezes, caught in a storm of confusion and something darker, something I haven't felt in ages. Then Ethan leans in, his breath warm against my ear, his voice low and rough as he murmurs that he's never met a woman who captivates him like I do. My heart slams against my ribs, a wild mix of guilt and thrill coursing through my veins, heating my skin despite the chill of the night. I steal a glance at Ryan, expecting to see anger or pain etched across his face, but there's nothing. Just that same stillness. A quiet intensity in his gaze, as if he's waiting for something, as if he already knows what's coming. The tension builds, a tight coil winding inside me until I can't resist the pull any longer. I let myself lean into the moment, surrendering to the rush of it all. Before I realize what's happening, I'm no longer on the log but a few feet away from the fire, lying on the cool grass under a sky littered with stars, Mark and Ethan on either side of me. The world narrows to the sensation of their hands, rough and urgent, tracing paths across my skin, igniting fires of their own. The night air bites at my exposed skin, a stark contrast to the heat of their touch, and I'm lost in a whirlwind of raw, untamed feelings I haven't known in years. It's as if I'm alive again, truly alive, every nerve singing with a forbidden energy that drowns out the quiet ache I've carried for so long. I won't lie, I revel in it, in the way it tears through me, awakening parts of myself I thought were long buried, even as guilt gnaws at the edges of my mind, whispering reminders of vows and trust. I can't bring myself to regret this. Not now. Not in this moment where I feel so fiercely, so completely, like I'm burning brighter than the campfire itself. Their closeness, the way they move with a shared, unspoken rhythm, pulls me deeper into the haze of it all. The grass beneath me is damp, prickling against my back, grounding me even as my mind spins out of control. The distant crackle of the fire, Ethan's ragged breathing, Mark's low murmurs, they blend into a symphony of chaos and desire, drowning out the world beyond this patch of earth. My own breaths come quick and shallow, matching the frantic pace of my heart, as I let myself be swept away by the tide of sensation. As I allow myself to be swept away by the tide of sensation, I'm caught in the push and pull of conflicting emotions. I'm still on the grass, the damp blades sticking to my skin as I slowly come back to myself, the rush of what just happened fading into a heavy, suffocating stillness. My heart's pounding, but it's not from thrill anymore. It's from the weight of what I've done. I pull myself up, brushing the stray bits of earth and grass from my clothes with shaky hands, my fingers trembling so badly I can barely manage it. I can't bring myself to look over at Mark or Ethan, who are already on their feet, muttering awkward goodnights in low, uncomfortable tones. Their footsteps crunch away toward their tent, the sound fading into the night, leaving me alone with the aftermath of my choices. The campfire has died down to nothing but glowing embers, casting a faint, eerie light over the clearing by Willow Lake. The forest around me is unnervingly quiet, save for the distant, lonely chirp of crickets hidden in the shadows. I feel exposed, raw, like every layer of protection I've ever built around myself has been stripped away in a single, reckless moment. I stumble back to the log by the fire, collapsing onto it with a heaviness that goes beyond my body. It's in my soul. My eyes are glued to the ground, tracing the scuffs in the dirt, unable to lift my gaze to where Ryan sits across from me. I'm waiting for the explosion, for the anger I know I deserve, or maybe for him to just stand up and walk away without a word. Either would be easier than this suffocating silence. But then I hear it, the slow, deliberate crunch of his boots on the dirt as he approaches. My chest tightens, a knot of dread and shame twisting inside me as he stops right in front of me. I force myself to look up, bracing for the fury I expect to see in his eyes, the betrayal carved into every line of his face. But what I find there cuts deeper than any rage ever could. His eyes glisten in the dim light, not with anger, but with something softer, something tender and pained that pierces straight through me. It's a look of understanding, of hurt so profound it steals the air from my lungs. He stands there for a moment, just watching me, and when he finally speaks, his voice is soft but firm, carrying a weight that makes my heart stutter. "You were incredible," he says, and my stomach twists at the words, a confusing mix of relief and disbelief flooding through me. I don't understand. How can he say that after what he's just witnessed, after the line I've crossed? I open my mouth to respond, to stammer out some kind of apology or explanation, but before I can, he continues, his tone steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "But I can't stay by your side anymore." The words hit me like a physical blow, knocking the breath out of me. I'm stunned, frozen in place as the meaning sinks in, each syllable echoing in my mind like a hammer striking anvil. He doesn't wait for me to reply, doesn't give me a chance to plead or protest. He just turns, his shoulders slumped with a quiet resignation, and walks toward our tent, his figure disappearing into the darkness beyond the embers' faint glow. I'm left alone by the dying fire, the chill of the night seeping into my bones as I sit there, unable to move, unable to process the magnitude of what's just happened. His words replay in my head, over and over, each repetition driving the reality deeper into my chest. I've not only betrayed him, shattered the trust we've built over years of shared sunsets and whispered promises, but I've lost him, truly lost him. The man who's been my anchor, my safe place in every storm, has walked away. And I don't know if there's any coming back from this. A strange, conflicting storm of emotions swirls inside me, tearing at my insides with jagged edges. There's shame, hot and bitter, burning in my throat as I think of the choices I made tonight. The way I let myself be swept away by a fleeting rush at the cost of everything that mattered. There's a twisted sense of liberation, too. I wake up to the soft, gray light of dawn filtering through the forest canopy, the air around Willow Lake crisp and heavy with the scent of dew. I'm still curled up in my sleeping bag near the fire pit, the remnants of last night's embers now cold and lifeless, just like the ache in my chest. I didn't make it back to the tent after Ryan walked away, couldn't bring myself to face the empty space beside me. My body feels leaden, weighed down by the memory of his words, that quiet declaration that he couldn't stay by my side anymore. I stayed out here all night, staring into the darkness, replaying every moment, every choice, until exhaustion finally pulled me under. As my eyes adjust to the pale morning light, I notice it immediately. Ryan's side of our tent, just a few feet away, is empty. The flap is unzipped, hanging limply, and a cold dread settles into my bones, sharper than the chill of the dawn. My muscles protest as I crawl out of my sleeping bag, stiff from the hard ground and the weight of everything that's happened. I stumble toward the tent, hoping against hope that I'm wrong, that he's just stepped out for a moment. But then I see it. His sleeping bag, neatly folded on the ground outside, as if he'd taken the time to leave everything in order. Tucked beneath it is a small piece of paper, fluttering slightly in the morning breeze. My hands tremble as I reach for it, my heart thudding so hard I can feel it in my throat. I unfold the note, and his familiar handwriting stares back at me, each word a quiet, piercing wound. I wanted to see the real you. I did. But I can't be part of this anymore. The words hit me like a series of slow, deliberate blows, each one sinking deeper than the last. I read them again and again, as if repetition might change their meaning, might soften the finality of it all. But it doesn't. My vision blurs, hot tears stinging my eyes as the reality crashes over me. He's gone. Not just from this campsite, not just for a moment to clear his head. He's gone from our life, from the years we've woven together, from the future I thought we'd always share. I look around, desperate for some sign that this isn't real, but the clearing tells the story I don't want to hear. His backpack, his gear, everything that marked his presence here, it's all missing. The pickup truck, our old, reliable escape vehicle, is no longer parked at the edge of the clearing. The space where it sat is just an empty patch of gravel, a void as stark as the one inside me. Mark and Ethan are still asleep in their tent across the way, their soft snores drifting through the still morning air. They're oblivious to the wreckage of my world, to the fact that everything has shattered in the span of a single night. I'm utterly alone, standing here with this note in my hand, the paper crumpling under my tightening grip. I sink to the ground, the damp earth cold against my legs, and let the tears come. They stream down my face, silent at first, then accompanied by ragged, choking sobs that I can't hold back. I clutch the note to my chest, as if holding on to it might somehow keep a piece of him here with me. But it doesn't. He's gone, and the weight of that truth is crushing. A physical pain that radiates through every part of me. I think about the years we've spent together, the countless mornings just like this one, waking up in the wilderness with the world feeling right because he was beside me. I remember the way he'd smile, sleepy and soft, as he handed me a tin mug of coffee brewed over a campfire, the way his hand would rest on my shoulder, a quiet reassurance that we were in this life, love, everything together. And now, because of one reckless night, because I let myself chase a fleeting spark at the expense of everything we'd built, I've lost that. I've lost him. The shame burns hot in my throat, mingling as the morning light grows stronger, painting the forest around Willow Lake in hues of soft gold and muted green. I find myself standing alone in the clearing, the crumpled note from Ryan still clutched in my hand. The air is cool, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp soil and pine, and for the first time in what feels like forever, I notice the quiet. It's not the oppressive silence of last night, heavy with unspoken pain, but a gentle, enveloping stillness that seems to cradle me. The leaves rustle softly above, a whispering chorus stirred by an unseen breeze, while a lone bird calls out in the distance, its song piercing the calm with a mournful clarity. I turn my gaze to the lake, its surface a perfect mirror reflecting the rising sun. A shimmering expanse of molten amber that seems to hold secrets in its depths. There's a strange peace here, one I didn't expect to find after everything that's unraveled. It's as if the wilderness itself is offering me solace, a quiet space to breathe amidst the wreckage of my life. I move toward the tent, my steps slow and measured, each one feeling like a small act of letting go. Packing up is a ritual, a deliberate process that anchors me in the moment. I kneel on the dew-kissed grass, folding the fabric of the tent with careful precision, smoothing out every crease as if I'm smoothing away the chaos of the past few days. Each fold feels heavier than it should, like I'm shedding layers of guilt, of regret, of the life I thought I knew. The nylon slips through my fingers, cool and familiar, and I can almost feel the weight of the past lifting bit by bit with every motion. I'm not just packing up a shelter. I'm packing away the version of myself that clung so desperately to what was, hoping to find something new in the emptiness left behind. From the corner of my eye, I see movement near the other tent. Mark and Ethan emerge, their faces etched with a mix of discomfort and uncertainty. They shuffle toward me, their boots crunching on the gravel, and I can sense the awkwardness in their posture before they even speak. Mark clears his throat, rubbing the back of his neck as he mumbles something about being sorry for how things turned out. Ethan echoes the sentiment, his voice quieter, almost lost in the morning air, as he avoids meeting my gaze. I nod, barely acknowledging their words, my focus drifting elsewhere. Their apologies feel hollow, like they're trying to erase a moment that's already carved itself into my reality. I don't have much to say to them. My mind is too full of the void Ryan left, of the words on that note that still burn in my pocket. A constant reminder of the cost of my choices. I turn back to my task, rolling up the last of the gear, letting the silence stretch between us like a chasm I'm not ready to cross. We finish breaking camp without much conversation, the air thick with unspoken tension. I climb into their car for the long drive back to the city, settling into the back seat with my bag at my feet. The engine hums to life, a low rumble that fills the cab, but it can't drown out the quiet that hangs between us. Mark drives, his hands tight on the wheel, while Ethan stares out the window, lost in his own thoughts. I don't mind the lack of chatter. It's not suffocating, not like I thought it would be. Instead, it gives me space to think, to feel the weight of everything that's happened without the need to put it into words. I watch the forest blur past, the towering pines giving way to open fields and then to the creeping edges of suburbia. Each mile takes me further from Willow Lake, from the place where my world shifted irreversibly, but I don't feel the urge to look back. Not anymore. When we finally pull up to my apartment building in Chicago, the city feels louder, harsher, a stark contrast to the stillness of the wilderness. I mutter a quick thanks to Mark and Ethan, grabbing my bag and stepping out without lingering. The door to my place creaks as I push it open, and I'm hit with the familiar scent. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.